definitely running out of time. Good. So, how do we encourage Facebook? We're still on Facebook. Good. So let's quickly talk about a couple of things you can do to help engagement. So when you're doing those famous tours, it's quite good to get people to tag themselves in your photos. Again, they need to tag themselves. You actually need to switch that on in your settings. A lot of people say, tag yourself in the photo, and then they haven't turned that on, so you can't. Right? Great. This happens all the time, people. You laugh. It does happen. And then that's really good because it allows people that pictures to travel really, really far. The next thing is hashtags. Facebook is the biggest platform by far, but it is so terrible at search. It's absolutely horrendous, right? Facebook is not made around being able to find content. It's only made around connections. It's about friends and pages you like, which means that it's absolutely impossible for you to find content on Facebook. You can find content on Twitter, on Google+, for crying out loud, on Instagram, whatever you might like, but you cannot search Facebook. If you search Facebook, the only thing you'll find is a page or a place, or a friend. So, if you want to find content, if you want to have a content competition, if you want to be able to say, submit some stuff to us, then you need to give your fans a hashtag, and you need to remind them to make the post public. Because they can post on your page, but that goes in that tiny little corner that no one sees, and no one really cares about that, right? So you want to tell them, make a public post and use a hashtag. Because if you ask people to share with us the pictures from the gig last night, that's great. You're never going to find them or see those pictures. So you've got to give them a hashtag, right? That's the only way you can make sure you actually group content together, find it, and then post as a thank you for whoever did the best one. So that's a way you can do it. You can actually find content on Facebook. But now, there are some new features that make that more easy. So a couple of new features that are interesting. I think there's probably not, there probably isn't trending in Sweden yet, is there? Do you guys have trending yet? You do? Oh, good, okay. That wasn't rolled out all evenly. I think, I know that in Norway they don't have it yet. So, trending was rolled out kind of, I think it's rolled out in most, I only knew it was US, UK. If it's in Sweden, it must be rolling out quicker through Europe now. So the way this is working is kind of like Twitter. It's aggregating all the top topics. It is the top topics. Wow, it sounds like I'm making a mistake, but it's top topics. So it aggregates all of the biggest one on the right-hand side, and if you click on that, you'll be able to see who's posting about it. If your artist has anything to say about one of those topics, it is really, really good for reach. So make sure that they are posting about hot topics. That sounds better. When they're happening, if it's relevant. The next one I want to show you is graph search. Now, graph search is very exciting, and this is where Facebook is moving into. Now, how many of you have graph search or have heard of graph search? Cool, we've got a couple of people. Great. Now, graph search is something that's been in the pipelines for a long time. I think it's been more than a year, maybe 2, maybe 3, I don't know. So it's something that only some people have. If you want to try and get it, there's this very nifty thing that I worked out by accident. So they roll out all their new features to the US before they roll out to the UK or even to Europe. So you just switch your language to English US, and then you get a lot of the new features first. So that's how you get graph search. At least it worked for me. When you start searching now, instead of showing you places and pages and people, you can actually start searching for posts, people, photos, and pages. And this is quite exciting because actually what you'll find is it becomes a lot more relevant when you search. Look at here. My friends that like Ed Sheeran, it starts to show me posts about him and people. But I can also do my friends who live in London and like Katy Perry. And then you start to get lists. Now, this is where Facebook, by the way, these are real people, and I get really mad for being on the screen right now. But these are real people. The point here is that this is going to be how Facebook gets into the search advertising space, right? Google's biggest and first bit of advertising money is from search. It's a very powerful thing. They're going to get into the friend search. So it's going to be social search, right? And when you do this, there's going to be an ad for a concert of someone who just sounds like Katy Perry is playing in London next week, obviously. And how powerful will that be, right? When you say, my friends who like Indian food who live in London, the restaurant around the corner, right? We're going to start getting into advertising around social search, which is very exciting. I have no idea when they're rolling it out. I've asked Facebook loads of times, they won't say.
Can you only search by geography, or is it geography and beta?
So it's a beta at the moment, and like 1 out of 10 times that works and 1 out of 10 times that doesn't work. But I don't really know because it hasn't been clear, but you can add some factors together. Sometimes the factors work and sometimes they don't. It's a bit of a mystery. It's a bit of a hidden miss at the moment. Yeah, well, this is working, as I said, sometimes, but let's see where it goes. Now, this was a question about clickbaiting, and it's the same thing about like baiting. Be careful about doing any type of competition post on Facebook where it forces people to do something like comment, share. Those are not cool anymore, so I know they used to be cool. They're not cool, don't do them. Facebook will just hide the post. The next thing that happened was November last year, Facebook came out and said, if you do any posts that say buy now or download now, your post will do really well. And then will do really well, will do really badly. And the whole music industry was like, oh, I give up. And I was like, come on, guys, this has been like that forever, right? So if you read that press release and you got really scared, it was always like that. The post always did badly. Buy my album. It always does it the worst. You have to put money behind it. So that's nothing new. I wouldn't stress about it. We'll talk about how to deal with it in the next section. Now, the last bit is Facebook audio recognition. This one's just a quick, fun one, just so you know it is coming. Facebook has built in an internal Shazam, which means that every time you type in a status update, it will start listening and looking for songs or TV series, and then it will automatically pre-populate the status update for you, which you can delete, so you decide to approve it or not, and it will show you what you're listening to and push out a 30-second preview. So that's launched in the US. It's struggling a little bit there because people think they're spying on them and listening to their conversation, but it is an interesting one if it comes over to Europe, and we'll see what we can do with that. I want to move on to Twitter because I've got 10 minutes to do Twitter. This is going to be fun. Okay, good. Twitter. Okay, so what's the biggest difference between Facebook and Twitter? Let's hear it.
That all of their fans automatically tag all of their fans when they tag you.
Sorry? Yeah, so definitely the 140 characters. Anything else?
Yeah, when you tag a photo or something, it all automatically goes to whomever, then all to their friends, and when they do it to all of their friends. And is that true?
Kind of. That's more Facebook, but in some way it's Twitter. Anything else?
Well, it's not friends, it's followers, and you follow whoever you like.
Very good. Anything else?
You only see what you follow.
Okay, cool. So you've all kind of gotten onto some of the good bits. Obviously, the biggest, most obvious one is 140 characters versus unlimited on Facebook, but there's a different thing between the friends and the followers, which is very important, which you kind of said over here as well. The thing about Facebook is that you've got two types of accounts. You have your personal account, and then you have your pages, right? Your personal account are your friends, your pages are your fans. And although with your friends, it's like this mutual, you have to both see each other. The page is like, you like the page and then they kind of top down, give you some info. There's not much interaction, let's be honest here. You're so worried about your beautiful Facebook post of the day that needs to go as far as possible that you don't really think about trying to communicate much more with other people. So it's quite egocentric, big news on Facebook. By the way, you should only be posting once a day, I forgot to say that. On Twitter, you can post as many times as you like, and it's not so egocentric because there's only one type of account, which means that there isn't like this celebrity account and then there's your account. It means that EasyJet, me, Katy Perry, and I don't know, Swedish Export Music have the same type of account, right? We all have the same account with the same ability to do the same thing. There's no distinction between your personal account and your celebrity account, which means that the way I talk to a celebrity, a company, and my mom would be the same. My mom's not on Twitter, but let's just pretend, right? It would be the same. Which means that you equal out the playing field. It really means that fans get to chat to their favorite superstar if they are so lucky, the same way that they get to chat to their friends. And that means that there's a lot more interaction going on. And it also means that because there's no limited amount of times you can tweet, people help each other on Twitter to like pull up kind of new celebrities. So you'll find that Katy Perry tweeted about this Norwegian girl. What's her name? It's not Aurora, is it? Yeah, and that like kind of blew up her Twitter account overnight because obviously she said we found this brand new voice. She tweeted it and she got like 2,000 followers overnight. Right, so you'll find that people are much more. They're dying for interaction. They're really trying to get attention from big artists and big accounts there because you can break overnight. It also means that people are trying to be in the right place at the right time and funny, because if you do that, you'll do very well as well. So there's a lot more interaction going on, and that's why people say Twitter is much more of a communication, because equal playing field and equal kind of rules, and I'll talk about that in a second. So you see everything on Twitter, right? There was a comment about tagging people. Let's see where the clarification is. What do you see? So let's say that my name is Jessica Hish for the next 10 minutes. If you haven't been paying attention, my name is Claire, but anyway. So I tweet, I'm a compulsive oversharer. Who sees this? Who on Twitter sees this?
Your followers.
My followers, right? Correct. Here's my Twitter family for the next 10 minutes. This is me, my brother, my mom. I told you she's kind of on Twitter. So us three, we follow each other. Then my cat follows me and my dog follows my brother. Remember this for a minute. Right? My brother, my mom, cat follows me, dog follows my brother. So I write at my brother, hey bro, que pasa? Who sees this? Now, half of you are going to be like, this is the easiest lesson, why is Clay spending 10 minutes on this? You'd be surprised how many people don't know this. So, who sees this? My brother, and I'm talking about the timeline now. Anybody else?
And his dog.
His dog, okay. Dog doesn't follow me though. So this is where the confusion, there's a lot of confusion here. And some people will be like, duh. But most people will be like, what? So let's just talk about this. So first of all, you only see the tweets of people you follow, right? You may not see all of them, but you have to follow the person that's tweeting for you to see it, unless it's a retweet, which we'll talk about later. So the dog can't see this because he doesn't follow me. The dog follows my brother. Now my brother is tagged in this, but the dog doesn't see it because he doesn't follow me and I'm the one tweeting, right? So this does get confusing. So people have to follow me to see it. So that means my mom and brother can see it. But they also have to follow my brother to see it because he's at the start of the tweet. When you put the at the start of the tweet, it limits who sees it because it counts as a conversation. Therefore, Twitter goes, I will only show it to people who are both following me and my brother. So only really my mom sees it. My mom and my brother will see it as well, but my cat won't see it because they only follow me. I know for half of you, again, I'm sorry this is boring you, but you'd be surprised. Twitter doesn't tell people this. I find it fascinating. So when your artist is working really hard and then says, at Pitchfork, just reviewed my album, 10 out of 10, no one ain't seeing that, guys. Because you put Pitchfork at the front. They have to follow Pitchfork to see it. You just cut out half of your followers, right? Probably 20%.
But if you're going to target 100 of those blogs, it's better to do 100 individual posts like that.
Now, it depends. Yeah. So if you're speaking at someone, I'm not saying that you shouldn't do this. This is correct when you're having a conversation. Because as much as you think your tweets are golden, not every Joe Schmo want to hear your long conversation with your friend, right? So this is correct when you're having a conversation, but it's not correct when you're having a statement and you're trying to get people to see it. Now, my brother replies, not much, Emily, what's good? Who sees that? So now my brother is tweeting, so you have to follow my brother to see it. So it'll be my mom and myself and his dog. It doesn't matter that the dog doesn't follow me because I'm in the middle of the act, of the tweet. If the ad is not at the front, it doesn't matter. The dog will also see it because anybody who follows my brother will see it. So anyone who follows him will see it as long as it's not at the front. Now, if I want to get that, but start the tweet, what you can do is do what my mom did, which is dot and my brother only a piece from age 5 to 55. That's a cheat, right? You'll find a lot of people, you'll see dots at the front of tweets and you don't know why. That's to try and get the same thing as that. So everyone who follows my mom will see it. It doesn't matter that my brother's at the start because she put a dot. Now, that is the fancy trick that digital marketing people teach you, but I don't like it. Why? Because Twitter, there's no filtering apart from this app bit. So you've got millions of tweets going down really quickly. You choose which ones you're going to read, and the ones that start with someone's name that isn't yours, you're not going to read because you're egocentric like the rest of us, right? When things don't look super appealing on Twitter, it's just going to fly by, and you ain't going to notice it. So personally, I know you can do the cheat. I don't like it. It's up to you. Next one. Who sees this? Aha, I have you all now.
Everybody who follows you and your brother.
Who do you need to follow to see this? Obviously me, because I'm tweeting. Do you have to follow my mom, my brother, or both?
Both.
How many say both? How many people say my brother? How many people say my mother? And how many people say either or? All of the above. So you have to follow me and my mom, right? The second person doesn't matter, because the second person counts as being in the middle of the tweet. So it has to be the first person. So if you're tweeting lots of people and you're having a conversation, put the most important one, the one with the most followers in the front, because you'll get more people to see it. Okay, that is the basics. Let's get into some stuff in a whole bunch of 5 minutes. Good. So it is interesting, this whole dilemma of, so that's all the filtering there is, right? You will see all the tweets from the people you follow, apart from the fact if they put an at the front. By the way, if someone retweets somebody else's tweet, obviously you'll see them again. You'll see their tweet as well if you follow the person who retweets it. Yes, question?
You're talking about feed now, right?
Talking about the news feed. They'll see everything. Yeah, they'll see it. Well, they'll see it on mobile, not on desktop. On desktop, it's in a separate tab. But yes, it's mainly mobile, so they will see it. Yeah, but people don't go on your profile. I mean, they don't really. I mean,
If they don't know you, you've been pitching something to them, and they will check out who you are.
yeah, they will look.
It's not going to be personal.
Yeah, agreed. Good point. So the problem with this, with Twitter, is because there's no filtering, there's loads and loads of tweets going out, and I am going to run over time, so we're going to deal with that in a minute. But so there's loads of tweets going out, and therefore it's really overwhelming. So Twitter's struggling because if they go to start filtering like Facebook does, then they're just going to turn into a 140-character version of Facebook, which is not sexy at all. And if they don't filter, they're not getting new consumers. So they're trying to find a way of finding a middle ground, one of which is this new thing called while you're away. So there's two things. One is while you're away. So if you log on and you haven't logged in for a while, they'll show you the top tweets. And the other thing is if you're new to Twitter, they will autofill your timeline for you for things they think you might be interested if you just join Twitter. So they're trying to find new ways of doing this, but they're not quite there yet. Let's talk about content that works on Twitter. Now, this, I'm really sorry, this is going to be really late. I'm going to tell you really cliche things like be funny, and you're like, great, thanks, now it's so much easier. Now I know I have to be funny on social media. It's a breeze. Okay, the point here is how do you be funny on Twitter, right? It's so easy to say, but it's not so easy to do. So here's an example from a brand called Argos. It's like kind of like, for simplicity, let's call it like IKEA in England. It's not quite, but similar. So not a very sexy brand, less sexy than IKEA. And there's a lot of help stuff happening on so if you complain, you often complain on Twitter because brands reply and then you get free stuff. So this ordinary guy wrote to Argos with the ad at the front, so any people who followed him and Argos would see it. When you're getting the PS4 things in most site, when you know more plus that Asian guy who works there got bad attitude, hashtag wasteman. Now, Argos replied, thank God, now we getting some more PS4 things within the next week. You get me? Slot got the attitude, probably having a bad day, yo. Now, this is a perfect example of how sad England is, because this actually went viral, and then there was loads of tweets, and they made it to the newspaper, and it's all very sad. But the point here is that if someone like Argos, like a brand selling beds and furniture, can speak like this on Twitter, you as music companies, you just gotta chill out, right? You literally need to stand there, like wave your arms and legs before you get on Twitter and then tweet. Because there's nothing like someone like, well, I think that the blah, 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 blah on Twitter, right? Like, no one cares, guys. If the fans are talking to you here, you can't go on your high horse. You just gotta chill. Chill on Twitter. You don't need to say, I think, because you're tweeting, so we know it's you and we know you're thinking, so it's fine, right? Like, it's chill. So, let's just calm, let's just relax when we're on Twitter. That's the rule number one, right? Then if you're not funny, you just steal stuff from all over the internet. So Twitter is kind of like, it's fine if you're stealing. It went around like 20 times. Every time somebody else was tweeting it, it was going viral. I mean, you just steal. If you're not funny, steal stuff. That works quite well. The next one is you're going to stay up all night doing big live events. This is actually worth it. Tell your artists to take loads of Red Bull and watch like big US sporting events or the Brits or the Grammys or anything like that, because it's worth tweeting during that stuff. This happened during Super Bowl, thank you, and the famous Katy Perry left Shark, who couldn't dance, and obviously the night afterwards this came out, like loads and loads of memes came out of that. So when things go wrong on live TV, you'll find Facebook and Twitter, or especially Twitter, will explode over this, and if you can be the first one to do it at the right time, it works really well. So Oreo was one of the first ones to do it, like 3 years back, and since then all the brands have kind of caught on. So live tweet during funny events, it always works a treat. Then this is the same one. So when the second baby was announced, this came out really quickly by Nissan saying, even if there's triplets, there's still room. So this came out a lot really quickly. But when the first baby was announced, every brand did 2 big Starbucks cups and a little cup with a crown on it. You know, everyone did it. So it's super easy. 2 vinyls and a CD. Like, the stuff, the Easter's coming out, do your thing with the Easter. Like, I know it's lame, but it works, so just do it. Like, find a way to make it stick and play around with the topical stuff because people just eat it up. I'm going to skip a couple of these for just time's sake. I'm definitely going to talk about this one because I love this one. So, Enrique and Pitbull did, this is a really good example of what do you do if you're not very good on Twitter. I'll admit, I find Twitter demanding, honestly. And it is so easy to say be funny, and obviously it's quite hard to do it on the go all the time. But what I think we need to think about social media, and Twitter specifically, is how can we make the most of something that is happening already? Right? So whenever you have something big happening in real life for your artist, think about how can I milk that on social media? How can I take this event or this opportunity or this thing I won or whatever it might be and pull it out and make the most of it on social media? And that's exactly what they did. So Enrique and Pitbull did this tour. They were going on tour together. And instead of going on Twitter and saying, hey guys, the tour is out, buy the tickets on my non-mobile friendly website, they decided to make a competition. So they said, everybody who follows both accounts and tweets using the hashtag Enrique and Pitbull tour, 10 of you guys will get to actually announce the tour. We'll give you the dates. So, first of all, you get all of them to follow you and tweet your hashtag, which is pretty smart. It goes trending worldwide. And then, think about it from a fan perspective. You're tweeting away, all of a sudden you get Enrique or Pitbull who follow you. You fall over the couch. Then, you actually get a direct message from Enrique or Pitbull saying, here's the day we've chosen you, please announce the date. You're on the floor at this point. Then you actually pull yourself together and tweet, and then both Pitbull and Enrique retweet you, and then you're pretty much done. Like, that's your life. Thank you very much. You know, you become a homeless guy. Like, that's it. You're done, right? Because you're going out there, and you're walking around school or on the streets, and you're stopping people in the street, and you're like, I was the Pitbull Enrique guy, right? That's marketing. That's how it should be. That kid's gonna tell every Joe Schmo he can get his ear on, right? He will steal people, take them out of restaurants and tell them. That's how you do marketing. You could have just said, here's the tour, buy the tickets. No, you make the most of it, and this is such smart marketing. So think about how you can do these types of campaigns, because that's the stuff that really makes sense. Oh, hashtags. Okay, I'm going to show you a tiny bit of this video just to give you a break, but then I'm really running out of time, so it's only going to be 2 minutes. This is just to try to explain hashtags on Twitter.
Hey, Justin, what's up?
Not much, Jimmy. Hashtag chilling. What's up with you?
Busy working. Hashtag rise and grind. Hashtag is it Friday yet?
Hey, check it out. I brought you some cookies. Hashtag homemade. Hashtag oatmeal raisin. Hashtag show me the cookie.
Sweet. Hashtag don't mind if I don't. Pretty good. Hashtag getting my cookie on. Hashtag I'm the real cookie monster. Hashtag no.
Not that? Okay, I'm going to stop it at that. You get the idea. It's a really long one. The point about it, the thing about Twitter is that they invented hashtags, and even though they were stolen by a whole bunch of different platforms, from Facebook and Google and Instagram and a whole lot, it was only really Twitter that kept this hashtag culture that they have. So there's 3 different ways you can use hashtags on Twitter. One is kind of the same as you would across the other one. So you have an album coming out and you're going on tour, so you give everyone a hashtag and you get them to use it, which is smart because you can go trending and it spreads the word a lot better. So you do this if you're a big account. you make sure you always give your fans a hashtag for whatever campaign you're doing. The second one is you use hashtags that are already existing. So if there's a big thing like the Brits or the Grammys or the Super Bowl or the Nick nominations or the Ice Bucket Challenge, you will use ones that are already existing because lots of people are searching for them, so there's a high probability of you being found. So always use trending hashtags if you're tweeting about a certain event. And then the third one is for humor, right? When people are just using it and it makes no sense. Like, I went to the Mona Lisa, hashtag is she smiling? That somehow is funnier than saying, I went to the Louvre and saw the Mona Lisa. Like, I don't know why, but that's just how it is. So you take a sentence and you make it a hashtag. No, it's not trending. No, it's not going to trend. But you just do it because that's the way Twitter works. So definitely worth using hashtags because they do really well. Now, you got to watch out because the thing about hashtags that I like to mention is they tend to go wrong if you're not careful. Twitter is about being funny at the right time at the right place. If there's anything controversial, then people are going to jump on it. So doing a Twitter Q&A for Madonna right after she fell at the Brits is not a good idea. Because everyone's going to say, oh, how much did that hurt, Madonna? And everyone's going to be like, no, did you fall, blah, blah, blah. So obviously there's always going to be someone that hates your artist. And there's someone's going to say, oh, Madonna, you suck. But no one's going to care. And it's not going to go trending. And it's not going to kick up a fuss, right? But if you're doing a Twitter Q&A right after something really big happened, then it's going to go bad. So Robin Thicke did one just after some controversial stuff, and it did pretty much what happened with the NYPD, which is tweet pictures of NYPD helping you, and it went off went left ways, right? It went really bad. Same thing with Robin Thicke. People just abused him, so don't do that. So here's some good examples of how it can work with a Twitter Q&A. So you give all your fans a specific hashtag and then they use it to ask you. Now, you don't ask you questions and you reply. It doesn't have to be super positive, right? You don't have to be like the friendliest person. Here's Nick Cave. Are you hating this, Nick Cave? I'm hating this beyond measure and I haven't even started yet. And what would you recommend for young musicians hoping to be as good as you, Nick Cave? Lower your expectations. So this did really well. Lots of news and everything, so you can actually use Q&As even if you're not happy-dappy, but don't be controversial at the time. That will not do well. Another really good one from One Direction was they did the Q&A before they went on tour, so you had to tweet using the hashtag and then also which city you're in, and they would answer your questions on tour in front of the whole stage. Very smart, peeps are freaking out for that stuff, right? So again, super fan moments, very good. Definitely do that. Then you might want to be searching what people are saying about you on Twitter. The king of this is, of course, James Blunt. I don't know how many of you follow him on Twitter. He's one of the funniest guys I know out there. Right before his album came out last year, he started searching for people who were saying mean things about him and then replying, which was very funny. Here's one of my favorites. So this poor person tweeted, people who think you're beautiful, your parents to James Blunt, and he replied, only I was drunk at the time. And then this is my favorite, after he's been doing this for a while, someone tweeted, James Blunt must have a sad life just searching his name on Twitter and wait to reply to stuff. And James Blunt replied, just search your name, nothing. So, let's finish off with some content technicalities. You can tweet a lot. You've got about 18 minutes and then your tweet is dead. So unlike Facebook where you've got 3 hours, you've got 18 minutes. So go, tweet away if you can. There's no such thing as too many tweets unless they're annoying or boring. Use pictures because they take up a lot of space. Same thing with videos. So YouTube videos are still fine. They expand. You can use them. Pictures do really well just because they take up more space and there's loads of tweets going down very quickly. And there's Twitter cards. I'm actually going to skip Twitter cards and we're going to do it in the advertising section. So we'll talk about that in a second. But this is another thing. You can actually tag people in your photos now and you can add up to 4 photos. I used to say this is pointless because people don't care about tagging on Twitter. They only care about it on Facebook. But if you do tag people on your Twitter picture, it does go very far. So do try it out. I think it's a bit nah, but some people tell me they got good results. As I said, we'll cover cards in the second session. And last 2 slides, because I'm 10 minutes over. The first thing is you can start doing direct messages. So before you could DM one person at a time if they follow you. But now if they follow you, you can actually add them to a group message, which is pretty good for those super fan moments where you're trying to tell 10 of your top fans the new exclusive and then they announce it for you. And the last one is native video. So just like Facebook went and did native video, Twitter came out with native video a few months later. So you can actually, this only works on mobile, you can video record stuff or use something you've already video recorded in the past and actually send it out on Twitter as a native video that also autoplays. I don't think it has video counts though. The point here is that they don't have edge rank, so they don't have reach to play around with. So you're not going to get a lot more views because you used a native video, but it does look very nice and very engaging in the actual timeline, so it will do well. Yeah, this one should also be landscape. Yes, correct. Because actually Twitter does that cutting for you automatically, so photos in general should also be landscape.
Question.
Yes.
How about when you post something on Insta? I know you're not talking about Insta, and you sort of also post it on Twitter, so it says, look, I posted this on Insta. What do you think about that?
So that's a good question, and maybe we'll finish up with this because this is my last slide. So let me talk you through what I think is going to be like the best way to do, and maybe an album announcement, let's say. So you have an album coming out, you do a 15, 20-second album preview. Let's say it's a tour, it might be easier. You're going on tour, you do a 15, 20-second album preview on something called Hyperlapse. Do you guys know Hyperlapse? It's an app by Instagram. So you can take you writing it down, then you speed it up, because when you speed things up, it just looks better. Then you push it out to Instagram where you post the 15, 20-second video there. Then you download or you save on Instagram, you can put a filter on it so it looks nice. Once you save it on Instagram, it should save it on your phone. You take the video format, the file, you send it to your email where you download it on your desktop. On your desktop, you upload it into native video on Facebook where you make the announcement on Facebook, and then on your mobile, you upload the native video on Twitter and share it on Twitter. That's how I would do it.
So not automatically?
Not automatically. Okay. Well, hopefully that was a good roundup. We're out of time, so I'm going to take a 10-minute break, and then we're going to come back with